Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our council meeting. Tonight is Wednesday, December the 11th. This day in history was the day Apollo 17 landed on the moon. It's the last Apollo spacecraft to actually land on the moon. To history buffs, in 1913, the Mona Lisa was recovered after being stolen from the Louvre 2 years prior. So there's just a little history to take home. This meeting will be streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and Potawatomi people, referred to collectively as Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, the water, and the air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as Treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all of life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Council, I would remind you that if you have a pecuniary interest, to declare it at the appropriate time. Clerk, we have a couple delegation and a presentation this evening. Anything else to add to that?
Nothing to add, Your Worship.
All right. Well, this evening we have a special presentation. I'd like to welcome Maggie Eastman, who is our representative to the Plympton Seniors Advisory Committee. Maggie, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Atkinson, council members, and fellow residents of Wyoming. Well, I'm here to talk briefly about the Plympton Senior Advisory Committee. Let's see on the left page. Right. Throughout 2017, 2019, Navigating Senior Care Lambton, that's what NSCL is, and Community Legal Assistance in Sarnia class worked together to identify the following concerns for seniors in Lambton County. And they came together and they did a lot of work, a lot of groundwork for what would end up being the group that I'm in right now. Now, what they found out was that staffing levels throughout the systems of care for seniors are low. Wait times for low-income, long-term care beds and retirement spaces can be extremely long. And maybe you have some who are in that particular situation and you understand this is so true. Seniors learn about what services are available to them through word of mouth. A lot of them don't have computer skills, again, which you know too. There's that catchment. I'm not even sure the age group that it would be that just didn't move forward when their computer said, no, I'll leave it to my kids. And then they just kind of decided not to. So those are the seniors that are being lost in transition here. There's also like communication about the available services and how to access them, which is a good point. Because we all think, oh, just, chime into the computer and just see what's happening, but they don't. Maybe they hear from people in the grocery store or somebody gives them a call, but then they have a transportation problem trying to get to where they want to be. In 2020, a task force of community agencies were formed to create the initial terms reference for the Lambton Senior Advisory Committee. The following rationale would guide the development. Lambton, of course, has an aging population. It has a higher proportion of seniors compared to other provinces. Seniors are now identified as a priority population under the new Sarnia-Lambton Ontario Health Team. It builds on age-friendly community planning initiatives in Lambton County and aligns with the County of Lambton's 10-year housing and homelessness plan and Lambton Public Health Aging, I can't even read, strategic priority. So some background. The Seniors Advisory Committee held its inaugural meeting February 2023. It's a 2-year commitment, which I have fulfilled actually. The main premise of the committee operates under is that all seniors are entitled to age safely with dignity. The Seniors Advisory Committee reports to the warden and county council on issues that will affect seniors in the community. The current committee members include 1 senior representative from each of the 11 counties of County of Lambton municipalities, 1 County of Lambton counselor, and 1 County of Lambton staff member, and 1 member from Navigating Seniors Care Lambton. This diverse membership ensures that all seniors from all communities are recognized in the activities carried out by the advisory committee. Each municipality carries out a recruitment process to nominate members to the committee. This ensures members have the appropriate skills and experience to represent their municipality and community decision-making. It also ensures that the members have a strong local connection to their community. Our goal, the committee works to address the challenges experienced by seniors to ensure our local communities support healthy aging. The guiding premise is that all seniors are entitled to age safety and dignity, of course. So what we do is we act as a liaison for seniors to enrich the health and quality of life for all seniors. And we solicit input and act as representatives for issues that affect local seniors. Things like getting rides into town, hospital situations, sometimes personal situations. I know my husband was dealing with a fellow over here who had no family in the area, was in his late 90s. And so he was on kind of like, hey, I need you. And so this is just knowing your neighbor, right? And being able to advocate for them. Okay. So our priorities, to advocate for improved transportation services, which have been ongoing, to reduce isolation of seniors. Again, I love it here because we can walk to most places. We walk to the store, post office. I mean, just we can walk around and get, and even with our new clinic here, which I've visited twice this particular month, it's been great to be able to have those facilities for us, be able to manage here in our own community. An increase in the sense of belonging of seniors to their community, improve access to healthcare and well-being services by promoting community access points, and promote residents to plan for their elder years. And some just haven't done that, or they've got kids who moved away. And so there's long distance phone calls, communication going on. It's just not safe for some people right now. Our accomplishment, the members of the committee sit on the Age Friendly Expo Planning Committee. I don't know if you're familiar with the Age Friendly Expo that's in Point Edward every year. And it's got a lot of people with different resources for the aged and just for the community. SAC members are available to their community for consultation through attendance at events like the Age Friendly Expo. The SAC committee has prioritized transportation concerns and is advocated for council initiatives. In partnership with the COL libraries, the SAC has launched a campaign to educate residents on community sports through the Age Friendly website. Again, if you don't have access to a computer, it's kind of a moot point for some seniors. SAC has educated members by utilizing guest speakers at committee meetings on topics such as system navigation and transportation. The SAC has limited ability to promote priorities due to lack of funding. A lack of recognition of the SAC committee as a separate entity apart from other community partners. And I know you're inundated with committee partners and the needs of the community. Limited opportunities also to address transportation barriers in the community. I know Land Shores has a direct access to take people to Sarnia, but I don't believe we have something out here. Our next steps to continue to support the SAC committee by seeking consultation on topics that affect seniors in the community, to work with SAC to hold and attend events in the community where networking with residents can occur, support requests from the SAC for input and projects that is informed in their community or by the community informed in their outreach in the community. Okay, so thank you. Is there any questions?
Gonna go to my right, Sir Rodriguez.
Yes.
Yes, two questions. It was a great presentation. You do wonderful work to help kind of bring those different resources together. I've navigated the system for many years with family. What kind of activities, I think I saw on your last page, activities do you guys do activities to try and bring the aging community together to keep them socially active?
We're looking into that at the moment, because it's a brand new committee. We only meet every 2 months, and we have some dialogue with guest speakers to really inform ourselves too. The Age Friendly Expo was kind of a big thing. We had a table there and everything to tell people, because it's kind of different with the Age Friendly. I mean, it does sound weird, but the Seniors Association or advocacy is a little bit different than the Age Friendly. And being out here in the community, except for going to the different, we have a lot here actually. I mean, we've got the what is it? The center there, the Hall of the Legion, and a lot of people attend that. There are functions coming up December, the craft sales and stuff like that. But I think we're mainly people who are just shut in or at home. I know we had a situation in the hospital recently with my husband trying to get him seen and trying to navigate that system. And as a previous nurse, I was really glad I had that behind me because if you don't know and you're going and they're blind, you're just kind of like lost. And those kind of things, being able to be with somebody, or I found somebody like lost in Petrolia and we got the police and everything and they just took off. Nobody knew where they were. And I ran into this wife just walking. I lost my husband. I'm like, oh, okay. So, there are these opportunities where we're just talking one-to-one, what can I help you with? And then just seeing how far they'll go and then telling them the appropriate service, whether CCA, well, it's not CCA anymore, it's Ontario Health, to get them to navigate that system, but it's just slow.
So the other point was of transportation. I know we've discussed it here in the past, and I believe the county doing some preliminary work on that. Are
Yes.
you guys aware or kind of?
Yes, we just had a presentation by Leo, and again, I mean, their services are limited and the booking, and if there's an emergency and weather-wise and just, yeah, and sometimes the cost.
Well, yes, and then but the public transportation, like you mentioned, Lambton Shores to Sarnia, but no Wyoming or Kamloops area.
That's right, to get into town. So unless they have a family member, somebody can take them.
Kind of clarify that item. I know the county, originally, we were going to undertake a public consultation of our own to determine the validity of, full transportation in Wyoming. The county of Lambton did call us late or early this year to note that they would be applying for the provincial grant to provide rural transportation, and that we committed our resources to help them in hosting open house sessions and advertising anything that we can for them to make themselves more attractive for a grant. So hopefully the county gets that grant, and hopefully we can all work together to make sure seniors have access to better transportation.
Yeah, and that would be good. And access to most things. I mean, as they say, a lot of them are suffering from terrible loneliness too. COVID didn't help us, but we kind of isolated, and even as other people, not even, well, I'm a senior, but we isolated. And so we weren't used to being with our neighbors and helping out as much as we had been. And I think that's gonna take a while to build back. So anytime you have somebody, you need some questions or something, contact the committee. I do have some brochures for some other age-friendly items in there if anybody wants anything. But thank you for letting me present that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
If I may.
She's just getting started.
You started? Oh. I hope I can help answer them.
Sorry, just one. You mentioned about not having any funding. What would your needs for funding go towards? And I don't know, obviously you probably don't have charitable status. But have you reached out to every municipality or looking for some sort of help, monetary help? Quite often we receive those grant requests at budget time.
Yes, I know, and I don't,
And not
we
everybody
missed it.
be accommodated.
That's right. And I think that, I'm not sure what the other committee members did, but I think they did reach out to their communities. Now, Bill Weber was supposed to be here to help me with a bit of that stuff tonight, which he's feeling well. So to give you a fair answer, I'm not sure where we're standing. We're looking at some funding, just to, I mean, even some of the paperwork and some of the, we sent Bill to an age expo in Toronto, which was just very expensive too. People are living longer, not aging as well. That's with everybody, every township, every province, everywhere. But we're trying to reach some kind of funding. I imagine in the new year, we'll be getting it together more and saying this is what we're looking for and all that.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes.
Councilor Bochen?
There's mud.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy.
Good presentation, thank you. Questions?
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, thanks, Maggie. This is a very high calling. Really appreciate that you stepped up and you're pulling your weight, and you mentioned you filled your term of 2 years. Nobody gets out. You knew that, right? That it's forever.
Yeah. Well, with my own husband retiring, we're kind of like, we've got our eyes on other things, and I'm still involved. As I was talking to somebody that I guess I was talking to Mayor, that, I meet people all the time and there's always assistance, and hey, do you need a ride here? You do that anyways, right?
Anyway.
Informally. So anyways,
Good.
thank you so much.
Councilor Wolvett?
Well, thanks, Maggie, for your presentation. I don't think there's any seniors in this room, so
That's good.
for the presentation.
Nice.
Maggie, I want to thank you. I know your term is coming up and you've have other things to do in your life, but I think on behalf of your municipality, I'd like to share with you how impressed we've been about your compassion, your enthusiasm for this project, as well as the support that you're giving, not only to it, but to the community as well. We're very fortunate to have you. Thank you for all that you've done. We do appreciate it very much. Okay, let's go to the next item on the agenda. And this is kind of a special one we've been looking forward to. As many of you are aware, we have an individual within our municipality that has given so much to his community. I'm talking about Mr. Jake Van Ruin. Jake, on behalf of the residents, council, and staff of Plympton-Wyoming, please accept our sincere congratulations on your recent retirement as the volunteer manager of the Blue Water Anglers Fish Hatchery in Point Edward. In 1999, the hatchery was struggling. Assisted by others, you stepped in and offered your services to ensure the organization became vibrant and productive. You did all of that as a dedicated volunteer. Your commitment to ensuring the future of fishing and the restocking of our lakes and rivers has been recognized and appreciated by many. Become a recipient of the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters Zone Outstanding Achievement Award. Highly notable. Added to that, you were also awarded the Gord Blake Memorial Conservation Award for your many contributions for conservation. Two highly esteemed recognitions for such a worthy person. But the thing that cannot be forgotten is the fact that you have taken time on many an occasion to share your knowledge with the next generation. So those of the future enjoy and appreciate what nature has given us. To me, that is a sign of an outstanding person. Thank you for all that you have done, Jake. And at this time, I'd like you to meet me up front and I have a presentation for you. Family members would like to do a photo. You're certainly welcome to do that. It's just Jake. It's very nice.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
This is for you. This is congratulations on your retirement, the manager of the Blue Water Hatchery in November. Thank you. This letter goes with you.
Appreciate it.
You're
It
welcome.
was 25 years. The biggest challenge today is getting some young people involved. I believe the average age in the hatchery is over 70.
That's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
I'd still be doing it, except I have trouble getting around now.
Well, that catches up to all of us.
I'm
doesn't
not
it?
as quick as I used to be.
I think we should have some family members in on this picture as well.
Sorry, I forgot to grab my hair. And you can grab my hair. There we go. Thank you.
Council, can we get one more picture with our council?
Yeah.
Come on, council. Lucky to have that.
You're new.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Nick, you want to touch on that end?
Wonderful.
Does anyone have any questions about the hatchery?
No, but I'd like to congratulate you.
Well,
I'm not a fisherman.
we are dependent on that ramp.
Oh, yeah. I bet you, yeah. Yeah.
Our spring derby was really dependent on that ramp out of Highland Glen,
Good,
and it got a lot more people going again this year.
great.
So it's a great thing that,
Glad we could do that for you.
great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Chance to escape.
Goodbye.
Good night.
No.
Maggie.
You can stay if you want.
Team ever do some.
Charge, Andrea.
Parents send an email.
Hi.
Now. Okay, council, let's go to item 5.1, business arising from the previous meetings. 5.1 is correspondence. Read the OPP false alarm bylaw as previously discussed at the November 27th, 2024 council. Motion of reconsideration will be needed to be considered in order to discuss the contents of the bylaw or reconsider the motion. Do we have a motion?
No.
Okay, please, clerk.
You don't have a motion because I have it to the side, your worship. If council wants to discuss the whole issue again, we will need to do the motion of reconsideration. I want to draw attention to before we consider that is the letter from Mandy, the secretary of the board, just clarifying for us a misunderstanding that many of us had, that those funds would go back to the OPP. So those funds will be coming to the town. So it's the town's opportunity to recoup some of those OPP costs that we spend. So it does make a big difference. So we wanted to put that in writing and bring it to you. And if you want to discuss that or the bylaw, we have to have a motion to reconsider.
Okay, council, would you like to reconsider or? Deputy?
Well, if I remember correctly, they said, yeah, if we get the fees. So I wouldn't mind reconsidering it, but would you have any kind of an estimate? Like,
So based on the facts that were provided before, the fees are there or the fines. And the amount of calls that we have had false alarm calls. So some are first free. There's
Yeah.
some charges after. So I have no idea because hard to predict.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bigger number. Some years were higher and lower, or months, I mean, were higher and lower. So I don't know. This would be our first go round, right? So. But it's better than nothing.
Let's talk.
Motion?
Yeah, I was just gonna say without discussing it too much further without the motion, but I think if we want to do that, I feel like we need some more information about if we can be told how many false alarm calls there were. I'm assuming they can give us the data for how many of those were repeat false alarms. Because if these were, I think it was 47 or something like that, where there's, if they were 47 different ones, because there's a system in place that helps educate and fix the solutions, then I don't think we need to really be much different, but I don't know if we have like how many of those are repeat, how much money would we have made if we had this in place? I just feel like it would be helpful to have that information if we did a notice of reconsideration.
Well, if we're discussing it without even having a motion, I would say if we are going to reconsider it too, that how many hours for the amount of money that we're paying for the OPP services, how many of those hours are dedicated to Plympton-Wyoming, and what is the justification? If you're out of resources.
Sorry, can I ask for clarification? Sorry, you mean in general or just regarding false alarm?
No, police resources
In general.
in general. What is that, those funds paying in general?
So there wouldn't need to be a deferral, your worship, because we haven't reconsidered the motion, but what I'm hearing is more information is required, so we could gather that information and bring this back on business rising again.
Well, if I may. We have to vote on that to even consider a different.
So there's nothing to refer right now. This letter is just being presented. We
I'm
have-
not saying I'm in favor of reconsidering.
Right,
I'm just saying if you're all discussing it, those considerations need to be accounted for.
sure. So if I add those in with the questions, I can bring it back and hopefully get some answers. Or you open it all back up, you'll have all the information that you want.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And then you can reconsider.
Yes.
at that time. I
Yes.
see. Okay.
So if I know the information we're looking for, which I do, is there anything else that anybody would like to? Okay, well, then we can save that for next time.
5.2. Motion by Counselor Rodriguez, seconded by Counselor Van Claveren. That the report by Aaron Kwarchuk, clerk, dated December the 3rd, 2024, regarding the website transition update be received, and the council waived the condition in the agreement with GHD Digital to wait until budget approval to commence the website transition to GovStack, therefore committing the funds now, allowing the website transition to commence in January of 2025. Anything to add to your report on that?
No, nothing to add. I can answer any questions that. Okay, on that.
Any questions? Counselor Rodriguez?
For clarification. I'm going through it again, jogging my memory. We did already approve this in budget for it. We just want to start the transition. We just want to start the transition early.
So we approved it contingent on budget approval.
Oh,
So it wouldn't be till the end of January that we have that budget approval. So makes sense for us to start beginning of January, and the way our agreement with GHD says right now, it says it cannot happen until council approves the budget. So this is just waiving that condition, so they'll send me something to sign saying council has agreed by this motion to waive that condition and we can start in January. So. Does that make sense?
it does, because something changed where they were ending.
So we
Yes.
knew we were gonna be forced eventually.
Yes.
We got a great price. We actually were speaking to some other municipal group buying groups about pricing for website, because they mentioned that they use this. And they said that pricing you got was out of this world. And we knew we'd be forced eventually to do it.
Mhm.
I just didn't expect this email to come and say, we have a date that it's gonna go dead if we don't do something. So I want to give us the most time to be able to transition successfully, so.
Yeah.
It's like a month really is what we're off by, but
Mhm.
well, it's a lot.
Any further questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Council vote 5.3, moved by Councilor Bolton, seconded by Councilor Rodriguez. That the report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated November 29th, 2024, regarding always stop control at Fleming Road and Queen Street be received, and the staff be directed to request increased police presence in the area to encourage responsible driving. De Silva is here. Is there anything, sir, to add to your report?
Yes, thank you, your worship. So back in September, we received a petition to implement a always stop at this intersection. We were directed by council to perform an investigation based on the requirements of 1.5 of the Ontario traffic manuals. So a staff member was out on site shortly thereafter the meeting during the AM peak period and the PM peak period to physically count the vehicles and turning movements in the area. And what we found was, based on those criteria for volume, we were not even close to having enough volume to warrant an always stop. We also reached out to the OPP because there is another warrant criteria for collisions in the area. They confirmed that within the last 3 years, there have been no collisions in that area. And then the third warrant criteria is visibility. We reviewed both, we did a desktop analysis as well as a field analysis of visibility in the area and determined that there was adequate stopping distance for vehicles there. So in our view, in our technical recommendation, we would recommend that we do not implement a always stop at this intersection. Speaking with the petitioner, who happens to be here, the organizer of the petition, it seems like the biggest issue for the residents out there seems to be distracted driving. So there's a curve just east of this intersection, and despite there being a delineator there, which people should see, and rumble strips, people are crossing over that, and people walk there, kids wait for the bus there, people cycle there. So I think maybe our best approach might be to ask the OPP to increase some enforcement in that area. Just to have a presence there, and hopefully that helps a little bit, but the issue seems to be mostly around distracted driving.
Everywhere.
Questions for Mr. Casilla, Mr. Counselor Bolgen?
Maybe I just have one question, and I think this is before Paul, Mr. Silva, so maybe Ms. might have the answer. I understand the value in having a form of data analysis and, you know, a data-driven decision, but I know that there's now a four-way stop at Clarence. And I'm forgetting what it is. Francis, was that decision, I think that was 3 or 4 years ago, was that based on a similar data collection, turning that from two-way to four-way? I think that was community driven as well.
Recommendation was not, the decision of council was. The recommendation of staff was based on the OTM manual, the same as Mr. De Silva did. But we always note that the final decision is council's. And if council wishes to see a all-way stop installed at that intersection, they can direct staff to do so at their discretion. And that is one time that council chose to use their discretion and direct staff to do so.
Thank you. Because the only concern I have with what data was used is it doesn't take into consideration the environment. I mean, it's a beach access point right there. So like, I certainly understand the potential risks there, and near misses won't count in the OPP data. So I just think that's worth consideration, is it's a beach access point right there. It's a one-way stop sign right now, and there's a bunch of houses going in just south of it. So I just think that's a consideration as well. If it's not happening now, then we have to keep an eye on it once those houses are built and more traffic's coming. Those are some variables that I think are a little harder to articulate with data, but exist.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Thank you. Yes, I agree with Councilor Bolgen, and it's unfortunate because traffic studies typically use like a little window. You know, that create big decisions that affect these communities. And, you know, that petition was signed by a lot of homeowners, and obviously they live it daily, and the beach access. And I think, and I stated before when we talked about this, and I travel this road quite frequently. Quite frankly, I use it a lot in the winter because Lakeshore Road's so hazardous and a lot of people drive so fast. I find it more comfortable to drive slower on these roads. But when you get in these a road like this, we have such a long stretch along the lakefront, several beach accesses, a lot of pedestrian traffic or biking traffic, joggers, you name it, especially in the summertime along this stretch of shoreline communities. And then you have a long stretch where there's no stopping of traffic. You know, you tend to go faster because you're going such a long distance before you have to stop again. I mean, I don't know if any of you frequent London or not and go in some of those neighborhoods, you got to stop every 5 minutes first, a four-way stop. Keep you slow in that subdivision. I mean, there must be some justification as to why they did that. It's not necessarily about the volume so much for me, but it's about the geography and the lack of stopping for such a long distance.
Thank you. Counselor Levet?
Yeah, I think that certainly since I've been on council, we've put in several four-wheel stops in our community. You know, down by the ballpark down here, we put them in there. I think, yeah, rather than these traffic studies and surveys and data banks and all this kind of stuff, I think this is a community-based decision. That's what we've based it on in the past. And obviously the length of this petition, the people in the area thinks it's necessary. It's not a big deal for council if that's what they want. It isn't going to hurt anything.
But, you know, I will say this, sometimes it's not good for the community because sometimes these stops, all these stop signs create noise, cars taking off, this type of stuff, and braking. So, you know, there is that risk, but if the people in the community decide it is too noisy or whatever, because we put them in, well, they can always ask for them to be removed. So like, I don't have an issue with putting them in there if that's what all these people in that area want. Like I say, it's always been our decision here, and we've put several of them in, quite a few of them in here in Wyoming. So that's all community based. So I wouldn't have a problem with going ahead with it.
Mr. De Silva?
Yeah, through your worship, if I could just make a quick comment, of course, I will absolutely respect the decision of council. It just, when it comes to these traffic studies, the OTMs are very specific that stop signs shouldn't be used to calm traffic because it creates other issues like Councilor Wolvet alluded to, like as people increasing speed or noise. But it also creates a new enforcement issue, whereas people tend to roll these stops. And I've been receiving a lot of complaints about Egremont and King Street lately about people not complying with that stop sign. So I just want to advise that by putting in a stop sign, we could then be dealing with complaints regarding enforcement after the fact.
Van Claveren, anything from you?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can certainly agree with my fellow councilors. I know our deputy mayor commented that it's everywhere. The speed is an issue throughout our municipality. You can hit 80 kilometers an hour in just a few short seconds. And so if there's any way that we can, at the very minimum, slow them down. And even if there's more than one that come to the stop sign at a time, it's just going to slow things down. It's just automatically going to do that. I don't see a real downside. I can appreciate some of the other issues that might surface, but in the big scheme of things, I think they'd be minuscule compared to what stressors are there now, what the risks are there now. And I don't see it as an expensive change. So I could definitely support that, putting another couple of stop signs in. Yep. Thank you.
Deputy?
Yeah, my biggest concern would be the pedestrian traffic. And I don't know if you have any kind of, did you do any kind of research on that? I see there's a comment about here pedestrian traffic, but there's going to be more, of course, and this is a busy area, a lot of beach access there, you know, a lot of people access. So that would be the biggest concern that I would have. It would be nice to have stop signs there for kids especially. You know, off to the beach and because they forget sometimes. Well, people even forget to look sometimes.
No, really? Yes.
Where is the parking access in that? I'm just thinking, if a four-way goes in, how does that impact any?
I think there's a lot of there's no parking there.
I think you could probably fit 4 cars if you're lucky.
Without the four.
2 or 3 cars.
Like right now, the parking that beach access is pretty much as if Fleming continued. It's pretty much lined up perfectly. with
Oh, it
Fleming.
is. Okay.
And then there's room for about 4 cars. So I think it would be a 3-way stop. We wouldn't put a stop sign at the entrance to a beach access.
But I guess my concern there was, how does that affect any overflow parking if that ever occurred? Being that close, that so close proximity to that, well, right in the heart of it. Like, would you have to then account for no parking in these spots type thing? Do you know what I'm saying?
Mr. De Silva?
Yeah, through your worship, if that became an issue, we would definitely have to look at no parking in this area. Yes.
It's like, it could be wrong, but I think most of the people that go to that
Or walk?
access walk down to it.
And further, you can't park there anyways, because there's a walking path. So even if you did overflow parking right now, you're blocking a designated walking path. So as of right now, there's no parking there in reality.
Okay, council, I think we've had some good conversation on this. So basically the motion of Mr. De Silva's was to not do anything with it. From what I'm hearing, seems to be a good consensus. We'd like to do something there and put some signs up. So clerk, if I'm correct in saying this, to move on to that next step, we need to defeat this motion. Is that correct?
Consider it, yeah.
Okay, so, council, all clear on this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion is defeated. We need to have a new motion.
I'm gonna actually do to your worship to Paul's report.
Okay.
So if you can give me a second.
Yes, go right ahead. Couple names to go on this.
Yeah,
motion.
this can be password. Oh. Chris.
Oh, sorry. I second it if you wanna, if you wanna.
What'd you say?
She trying to spell her name.
Your last name.
Put Nettie. Anyone?
Are you new here? Are you new?
You know, McEwen can be spelled so many different ways. And I never looked.
We'll do this one first. So you can remember.
Sir. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Jeremy, drainage meeting.
Was the form a couple of hearings and stuff.
We want to stop at 6.
Over in a second or just for the report.
We have Councillor Bojan and Councillor Van Claveren. Order.
Yep.
Okay, I have a motion by Councillor Bojan, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren, that the report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated November the 29th, 2024, regarding hallway stop control at Fleming Road and Queen Street be received. All those in favor? It's carried. Then I have a motion by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez, that staff be directed to install always stop control at Fleming Road and Queen Street. All those in favor? It's carried. Okay, let's go to item 5.4. Moved by Councillor Rodriguez, seconded by Deputy Mayor McEwen, that the report by Ella Flynn, Executive Assistant Deputy Clerk, dated November the 4th, 2024, regarding 2025 comprehensive fees and user charges bylaw be received, and that bylaw 3 of 2024 be repealed effective January the 1st, 2025, and that bylaw 134 of 2024 being a bylaw to establish fees and user charges be taken as having been read 3 times, finally adopted, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Glenn is here that created the report. Any questions? Oh, yes, Councillor Rodriguez.
All right, so, A8. Agreement Execution Administration, I see that's a new fee, and I don't think there were 2 new fees that I noticed. Aside from the engineering, or whatever they were called. The agreement execution administration and the building permit grading site plan. I kind of just wanted to understand what those were for. I felt like the building permit grading plan review fee might have been part of the engineering review fee, a lot of fees. I'm trying to keep them straight.
Ms. Flynn?
So I can speak to the agreement execution fee. So this is something we have actually historically been charging. So when we do like patio encroachments or rentals of whole entire parks, just for the administration to facilitate the agreement, we charge them this fee. So just for transparency, we wanted it included in the fee bylaw. That way, if people are questioning where is this fee coming from, we can say it's actually right here in our bylaw. Mr. De Silva, would you like to speak to the grading plan?
Sure.
So,
Through your worship. Yeah, so when we were reviewing the building permit bylaw. We noticed that we weren't charging a fee for a grading plan review. This is completely separate from the development engineering review fee. So when somebody goes to build a home and they're submitting a grading plan that gets reviewed internally. It also gets verified on site and signed off by our staff as well. So it's just a small fee just to perform that service.
Thank you. And if I may, under the new staff engineering review fees. So originally, when we talked about this at the November 13th meeting, the proposal at that time was a percentage based fee. And as well, the set fees that we have in place now, the 260 and the 3120 were proposed to be reduced with that percentage in place to 1,000. The first one, the 270 stayed, but the 3120 was reduced. And I assume that was because when you did that staff report, I believe you used an $85 an hour figure for the engineer to come up with roughly how many hours. If you do that with that $3,120 fee, that would equal almost 37 hours worth of time that's being paid already. So we're with that 3120. But then we all at the subsequent meeting voted to go in favor of cost recovery. There was no discussion of putting 3120 plus cost recovery, but that's what's sitting here. So I'm a little bit confused.
What page you on?
Oh, I'm sorry. 10?
Mr. De Silva,
Through your worship, the intent would be to charge cost recovery over and above the 3,100, so that would be included. Like we would work up to that 3,120 and then cost recovery and anything thereafter.
So it would be worded that way?
It'd be worded that way in the agreement, yes.
So you're using that 3120, you're using 37 hours up?
It's essentially a deposit almost on the review fee. And then just initially, and then anything over and above that, we would charge out on a cost recovery basis.
So when you do deposits, like, do you note that in your bylaws? Like
Subdivision agreement.
It's noted in the agreement, yes.
that this would be a deposit?
Correct.
So it will be noted somewhere for clarity.
further questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, let's go to item 6.1. Oh, sorry, we have 5.5. We're going up to. Who's grabbing that? Mr. Silva?
Thank you, your worship. So this was brought up several meetings ago by Councillor Bailey. Unfortunately, he's not here today. Requesting that we look at adding gravel parking along Erie Street at McKay Park, because he had said that it kind of gets muddy, and after Remembrance Day services, there tends to be a lot of repairs that happen there. So we did review this internally. It's something that can be completed by our staff, utilizing the operating budget. So it's something that we could easily do. I just wanted to bring that back to council to see if there was still interest in performing that work. We'd probably do it in the spring.
Okay, yes, Councillor Rodriguez.
So would that become part of like budget to do it yearly, like to put gravel in and maintain it?
Precisely, yes, we would have to maintain it on a, not just yearly, probably a regular basis.
Any other questions? Councillor Wolfett?
I just drove up there the other day and took a look at that. There is gravel along there already, maybe about halfway down, maybe.
Yeah.
Either just a strip, maybe from the Cemetef to the Royal Lee. But there's already gravel there, so there's not too wide to go from the existing gravel to the sidewalk, right? Is that what they want to do? Gravel right to the sidewalk?
Through your worship, we'd still put probably a buffer strip to the sidewalk to
Okay.
avoid cars wanting to
Yeah.
park on the sidewalk itself, but you're right, there is a bit of a gravel shoulder there, so the
Yeah.
intent would be to wind that out, so at least a car can kind of fit there and be out of the traveled lane.
Because like I said, I did go down there and have a look and is gravel a good portion of the way down, so I guess it's not such a big deal to put a little more. Parks budget, would they pay for that?
No,
I would have to say that it's to do with their park, so it really should come out of their budget.
I'm sure Councillor Vaizey will have a comment for you when he gets.
Snooze, you lose.
Okay, so I guess probably to make sure that we get, then we probably need to have a motion on that.
Correct.
So would somebody like to make that motion?
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor, seconder? Councillor Van Claveren?
no. There's no parks in that motion.
Moved by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren, that the staff be directed to install gravel parking on Erie Street, McKay Park to the cenotaph. All those in favor? Carry.
The cemetery, isn't it?
They might complain.
Okay, council will go to item 6.1. I have a motion by Councillor Bojan, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez, that the minutes be adopted by council. Those confidential minutes of the closed sessions of council remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Planning Council meeting minutes of November the 25th. Regular council meeting minutes of November the 27th, and our closed regular council meeting minutes of November 27th, all of 2024. Council, you've had an opportunity to review them. Questions? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried. We will go to item 6.2. Motion by Councillor Wolbett, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez, that the minutes be adopted by council. And those confidential minutes of the closed sessions remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act. That would be our Special Events Committee meeting minutes of the 4th of November, the Environmental Services Committee meeting minutes of the 7th of November, both of 2024. We have the chair and the liaison of those committees, Councillor Bojan, if there is any questions. Questions? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, let's go to 6.3, Councillor's Report. Deputy?
Yes. Mr. Belton, like.
Sure. Just two things. The first is this special events committee. This Saturday is, of course, Christmas in the Village. So be sure that you head into the Lions Hall for that event Saturday. They also have the holiday light contest happening. So there's a map posted on the events committee's Facebook page, so you can follow around and see the hard work of those who submitted to have their house displayed with their lights. The second piece is just related to the Environmental Services Committee. The minutes aren't out yet. It was last week, I think. So just a heads up that if you look at the agenda, staff are working with Jacobs on their contract request. So I think there's gonna be lots of discussions ahead. Maybe that.
Okay.
Ms. Rodriguez.
I do have a question for Councilor Bojan on this Saturday's parade. I have some grandchildren excited to attend. How many tractors? I saw a posting saying you got a lot.
50.
35, I think.
35. It's definitely bigger than last year.
35, awesome.
I think the organizers said yesterday at the meeting that they had 29 confirmed, but they're expecting 6 to randomly show up the same as last year.
Thank you.
And it's 6:15 is the tentative start time for the tractor parade. But it's best to arrive at 5:30 at the beginning of the event so you don't miss it.
That's when the tree will be lit, I presume.
Yes, no, that's just when you gather at the Lions Hall. Technically, you walk, Santa gets there at 5:45, then you walk to the tree at 6. Tractor parade at 6:15. All on the Facebook page of the event committee and the town shared it.
And you're guaranteeing good weather.
Not guaranteed, but a guaranteed good times.
Okay.
The tree lights.
So I've had no meetings, but I do have the St. Clair Conservation Authority board meeting. Well, one item of yours, a highlight in that their agenda is they're asking for the board's endorsement and principle to create dedicated capital levy increase. So it's a new thing they're doing. Creating a general ledger account for dedicated capital assets. They're going to be asking over the next year to implement in 2026 a 1.04% increase to go towards specifically dedicated to their asset management account. Chatham-Kent, they're asking for a 24% annual funding over a 4 years. Specifically because of their water control structures like the McHugh Dam. I don't believe Plympton-Wyoming has any capital assets that would belong to. Like there's no, I'm sorry, St. Clair Conservation Authority assets that are located in anymore, because we had to. But being asked to fund those.
So
So I guess I'm asking council what your thoughts on this, so how I know how to respond tomorrow. Obviously, I have my own opinion on this, which is a no, but simply for the fact that Plympton-Wyoming, it wouldn't be fair to ask the tax base for even more money for infrastructure that's not located here.
already hiked it.
And they note in the report that traditionally they do have healthy reserves. Traditionally, they used reserves for replacement of capital assets. So I'm not sure why the creativeness here.
Maybe you could encourage them to keep up the tradition.
Yes, I will be sure to quote.
Okay.
In the spirit of Christmas, keep up the tradition.
Is that it for you?
Yes, and if anybody else has any thoughts they wanted me to share,
Personally, I would agree with Councillor Rodriguez. Also too, I was gonna ask, do you know when their AGM is gonna be, or have you set that yet?
the one that comes up in February.
Yes.
No, I don't. And where it is, I don't. We'll probably learn those details.
All right, Mr. Wilbert.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I have to report is the appreciation party we just had. Thank you very much to the town for putting that on and all the extra help that was there that put it on, and mayor and the deputy mayor, and my wife and I enjoyed it very much. It's a great evening. We didn't stay too long. We're too old for that dancing stuff. I guess that's why we got to join the senior committee, but it was a nice evening for. Other than that, comment to Kirsten is enough for that conservation authority. They just don't seem to give up on asking for more and more and more. And sometimes it's quite extreme, so we need to start voicing our opinion that enough.
Yep. Mr. Van Claveren.
Yes, Deputy Mayor, thank you. No past meetings to report on. However, we have drainage meetings 3 days next week, 18th, 19th and 20th. So we're gonna be full steam ahead through the Christmas holidays, yes. That's all I got. Thank you.
Mr. Mullin.
Thank you, Deputy. Just a couple things to share with you. I had the opportunity to be part of the Forest Santa Claus Parade. week ago. It was good, cold, but it was still good. I had the opportunity to attend the Special Events Committee meeting as well as the environmental meeting. And as Councillor Bojan has said, the big night is coming on Saturday. We'll have the pleasure of giving Santa Claus the key to the town to be used on Christmas Eve, but then he has to return it to us. It was part of the election of the new warden, deputy warden for the county. Mayor Kevin Merritt was returned as the warden, as you're aware. The new deputy warden is Mayor Jeff Agar from St. Clair Township. And just prior to this meeting this evening, I had the opportunity to sit in on the Wyoming Community Foundation AGM that they were having over at the Lions Hall. And that's about all that I have, Deputy, and thank you for covering for me this past week and a couple weeks for me.
What's the deputy supposed to do, I guess? Anyway, yeah, and I was at a Plympton-Wyoming Historical Society. Andrew Meyer and Lori Webb were invited to attend to discuss ideas for the museum, like digitization, videos of local history and fundraising. I think they were very helpful, but they're really interested in getting a summer student. So if we could, I'm trying to impress that on the CAO that they would like a summer student, and maybe council would really like to give their opinion about it too. There's only about 8 members out there, and they're taking care of everything. So a summer student that will work would be greatly appreciated. We had a summer student once. It didn't work out that well. So, you know, if you're going through this process, and just impress upon the person, if we do hire someone, that we'd like some work done while they're there, okay? Attended, did you want to answer that?
Yes, please. In regards to the summer student, I'd have to follow up with the staff. I do believe the grant applications for the Canada Summer Jobs Grant, if not has gone out, would be going out extremely shortly. And the budget process is deep along the way. So it might be a challenging incorporating a summer student in this year, especially if we're not eligible for the grant. But we'll have a look at it, and then we'll respond back to yourself so you can bring news back to the committee. And then we can look at working with them to make sure there's summer student for the following year if we missed a deadline, unless council wants to have us put it in the budget for that summer student. I would think it might be best to wait.
Okay, but can you look into it now, like as soon as possible, to try and get this? And what is it, the Canada?
We can look into it tomorrow.
Okay, and
For sure.
then we'll find out, and then maybe I can bring it up at budget time because they need somebody out there, like to do. Yes.
Oh, my apologies. I just wanted to support what you were saying. Obviously, it's an aging population that is trying to keep this local museum alive and well, and that's just not going to be sustainable. And if we want to continue funding this museum and having it there for the public, we need to get serious about how are you going to engage the public, and what are we going to do? You can't spend all that money, throw that thing out there, and then abandon it. That doesn't work. Don't throw anything at me, but if the rink does go in, I think it's a tremendous opportunity to help expand on feed off of that with them being so.
Okay. Anyway,
I will
like I said-
contact you tomorrow with what I.
Okay, thank you. And I also attended the warden's election, and I saw Bob there too. And as a matter of fact, you got your picture in the paper somewhere, Bob. I think, could they not buy a new hat for the warden? Just bring it up to date a little bit, and or that's.
Apparently that's tradition.
That's tradition. Okay, see, tradition. Okay. And yeah, the town's Christmas party appeared to go well. And the presentation in Petrolia, that was fun going there. And Adam, he he rode shotgun. He helped me, nudged me when I had to go up and, you know, told me. So that worked well too. That's all we have, sir.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, council, let's go to 7.1. I have a motion by Councillor Bojan, seconded by Councillor Rodriguez, that the council remuneration claims for November 2024 be approved for payment. All those in favor?
No.
Oh, question?
Statement.
Statement?
Yes, a statement, sir. That I have an error on my on mine. I have spoke to Christine about it. And it will be corrected on the December timesheet, and I have supplied error to make the corrections.
No,
So
that's
my
it.
apologies. I just wanted to put it out there.
No, that's fine.
You're getting too much? Is that what you said?
No, well, apparently I attended a November 6th council meeting by myself. So yeah, was it a good one? It was really good. Got to do all the talking.
What? Yeah.
Any different? Okay, fine.
You know? All right, thank
It's
you.
just the date though, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's just the date.
Yeah, it was a date, but also I attended virtually. It did.
Oh, I see.
So it's very minor error, but I just wanted.
Okay, Councillor Bojan and Councillor Rodriguez, okay, if we just make as amended,
Oh,
we cover that. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, get into the fun part, our staff reports.
I may.
Yes,
I'm going to declare a conflict of interest on your next item on the agenda, the notice of hearing. St. Clair County. When, because I currently sit on the board of appeals committee. They are going to be restructuring that.
mhm.
But currently all of us will be, the board will be participating in this, so. Based on the way the motion's worded, I will have to declare a conflict.
So you'll do the proper paperwork with the clerk?
I already did.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion by Councillor Van Claveren, second by Deputy Mayor McEwen, that the report by Elizabeth Cummings, Drainage and Engineering Coordinator, dated November the 28th, 2024, regarding the upcoming hearing for the Board of Directors of the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority be received for information, and that the town of Plympton-Wyoming Council express their support for the requested enclosure on behalf of the McCall O'Donnell Drain landowners. Ms. Cummings is with us this evening. Ms. Cummings, can you give us an abbreviated version of this, please?
Sure, I can try, your worship. Request was put in under the Drainage Act to enclose the O'Donnell Drain. The municipality followed the proper process for, an on-site meeting, appointment of the engineer, on-site meeting, etc. The engineer put in a permit request with St. Clair Conservation Authority. This is very notes, but they put in a request for that and the permit was denied based on their enclosure policy. So the next step to proceed with the project is to take this to their board as an appeal to their board to allow for the enclosure. And our engineer is here tonight and he has prepared a presentation. I was mistakenly, I thought that the conservation board would have this by now, but I guess they don't, so I didn't intend to release it early, but they will have it shortly. It's just not been released to the members of the board.
Okay.
So the hearing is next Tuesday. And Josh and myself will be there for that. If you have any specific questions about technical issues,
I
you can help me out.
Yeah, I think you will respect the fact that you won't disclose that at this time. On to that comment. So, council, is there any questions for Ms. Cummings or Josh? Councilor Van Claveren?
Was Josh gonna do a little presentation that might
Yeah.
might answer some questions we have, or
Through the chair, not at this time, but yeah, we'll be presenting it in front of the conservation board, and especially with them not receiving it yet, and I don't want to disclose.
Fair enough, fair enough. Can you, can we ask about parameters that the St. Clair Conservation Authority would generally require a project to would be within those limits? If I understand correctly, while this particular project exceeds the length, it doesn't exceed the width. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, so through the chair, the parameters that the Conservation Authority has. So there, and it's not a board approved policy. Staff have implemented a guideline that the project has to be less than 125 hectares and less than 500 meters. So this proposed enclosure is 162.9 hectares. And the length is 239 meters. So it meets the length criteria, but it exceeds the area.
There we go. Okay, okay. I might just add a couple of comments. I'm certainly in support this project. Makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons. And through the act, the owner will be funding most of it, if not all of it. And so and it not only would help our landowner, but there's advantages to our municipality too. So I would be in support of this.
Anything further? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried.
It's Josh.
Okay, council, we're gonna go to item 8.2. A motion by Councilor Rodriguez, seconded by Councilor Bojan, that the report by Elizabeth Cummings, Drainage and Engineering Coordinator, dated December the 3rd, 2024, regarding petitions for drainage works by owners in Gallimere Beach received, and the council accept the petition as filed on November the 4th, 2024. Council appoints Spreet Associates Limited to make an examination of the area requiring drainage, to prepare a report on this matter. Cummings is here. Is there any questions on that? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Carried. Let's go to item 8.3. After we're done 8.3, council will take a 10-minute personal break. I have a motion by Councilor Van Claveren, seconded by Councilor Wool, that the report prepared by Jessica Wilson, Executive Assistant Public Works, dated December the 5th, 2024, regarding the solid drain tender be received, and that the tender from JLH Excavating Incorporated for $104,699.02, including HST, be accepted, and that bylaw 145 of 2024 be taken as having been read 3 times, finally passed, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Questions on this one? All those in favor? Carried. Okay, council, we're going to take a 10-minute break. I would ask you to be back in your seats by 6:25 for those that are joining with us virtually. Thank you. We will be returning shortly to continue the evening. Hey, welcome back, council. We're gonna go to item 9.1. Anything under that, clerk, that hasn't been added before? That's bylaws.
Nothing at this time, your worship.
Okay. We'll go to item 10, correspondence, action required. We have nothing listed. Nothing's been added, clerk, has it?
No.
Okay. Okay, council, let's go to item 11.1. A motion by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councilor Van Claveren. That corresponds items A to G. That's items A to G relating to recommended reading and routine approval and information items be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. Beginning on my left, Councilor Wilbett.
Of anything, sir.
Hey, Councilor Van Claveren.
Nothing for me, sir.
Deputy Mayor.
Nothing, sir.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes. Item D, I do support the counts, I believe a counselor wrote that. Any root cause solutions being proposed here for mitigating the mental health, homelessness and addictions crisis. It's just everybody keep throwing your ideas in there and hopefully something sticks. So I support that.
So item, which was that again?
I'm sorry, item D.
D, okay. Did you want to pull that and send a support letter or just recognize it?
Support.
Okay.
If I may, item F, item F is from the town of Troy with the OPP provincial billing increase. Obviously, that was done and circulated before the announcement. I do know, as we all would all know, that some are getting their numbers of what they're gonna get in funding. We haven't heard anything about what Plympton-Wyoming may receive to offset the billing increase. But for me, the bigger picture is, this is 1 year of funding to help offset what happens next year. And then you're also facing another increase on top of the 18% increase next year and the year after, because I believe it was a 4-year contract that was signed. So I think, I don't know who has to look at that on the bigger picture, but all the municipalities need to really dive deep into getting these costs more manageable and sustainable over the long term. Directly services. Do we have a number?
We do, called on our treasurer, Roddick Priest. You have that number, or do you want to find it? I'll go on to Councilor Bojan and then come back.
It's 203,000.
Okay, so if you remember at the last meeting, I mentioned an 18% increase, and I think that equated to 206,000. So almost all of it will be covered, which is good news. But again, it's short term. We have to look at that longer.
She said two. Did you say 203? Pardon me?
Yes.
Okay.
Councilor,
Yes.
Councilor Bojan.
Nothing for me, thank you.
All right, so we have one item to be pulled out.
Short term, that's cool.
Councilor Wilbett.
I'd just like to make a quick comment on this $203,000 in each community getting this money. This is not a feel-good thing. It's not coming from the taxpayer. You got to get to the root cause of what's causing this. So like I say, municipality, oh, that's great, but like Christian said, yeah, this is a 1-year deal. What comes next year and the year after and the year after? And like you say, this money is our taxpayer money still. So it's not it didn't do any favors here. They just got themselves out of in my opinion, a political situation. I just wanted to make that statement, but don't feel good about it at all.
Thank you. Welcome. Waiting for the clerk to, her computer's rebooting and we'll have the.
Right, I could have brought it up for you.
About it. I'm just trying to, it's from the city of Cambridge. It's asking for mayors to sign. So. It's not really a letter, but more of, mental health addiction, okay. Which usually, so supporting it is still, we don't have to create the letter, but we'll sign with the mayor on that. I just wanted to give it a sort of a title because it doesn't really have exact title, so. So, Your Worship, I have Councilor Rodriguez moving it, so if we have a seconder.
Seconder for Councilor Rodriguez's motion. Councilor Van Claveren.
If you want, I can read it, Your Worship, because I have some
Sure.
arrows. That council support correspondence item D from the city of Cambridge regarding issues related to mental health, addiction, and homeless encampments.
Everybody heard that? Comfortable? Okay, all those in favor? Carried.
How you doing? Sorry.
Except I.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councilor Van Claveren, that correspondence items A to G relating to recommended reading and routine approval and information items be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly, except item D. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, new business. Councilor Rodriguez.
No.
Councilor Bolgen,
Tonight, thank you.
Deputy Mayor,
No, just want to repeat the needed help at the museum.
Councilor Van Claveren,
Nothing for me, sir.
Councilor Wolbeck. Okay, I have nothing either this evening. So that will conclude that. Let's go to item 13. I have a motion by Councilor Wolbeck, seconded by Councilor Van Claveren. The council move into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Item A, personal matters, section 239, bracket 2, bracket B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Item B and C, litigation matters. Section 239, bracket 2, bracket E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. And item D, employee matters, section 239, bracket 2, bracket D, labor relations or employee negotiations. All those in favor? Carried. For those that are joining with us virtually, we thank you very much for your attendance. We will now be going in camera and returning after the camera session is over to conclude this evening's activity.